The encrypted transmission reached Earth's defense grid at 0347 hours, Terran Standard Time. 300 years of silence, broken by a desperate whisper from the void. Admiral Sarah Chun stood in the war room beneath the Rocky Mountains, her weathered hands gripping the edge of the tactical display. The holographic message flickered before her, his Anthari diplomat, his usually pristine silver robes torn, his four eyes wide with terror. "We were wrong," the alien pleaded, his translator struggling with concepts his species had forgotten. "The Devourers. They came from beyond the galactic rim. Our diplomatic protocols. They don't negotiate, they just consume. Entire systems gone in hours. We need." Static consumed the transmission, but the final words cut through like a blade. "Please help us." Chun's staff stood in stunned silence. Commander Marcus Rodriguez, head of Earth's Intelligence Division, was the first to speak. "It could be a trap, Admiral. The Federation exiled us for being too violent. Now they want our violence?" Dr. Elena Vasquez, Earth's leading xenobiologist, pulled up star charts on her tablet. "The Xanthari wouldn't fabricate this. Their neural conditioning prevents deception on this scale. If they're breaking 3 centuries of exile protocol." She paused, studying the data streams from their long-range sensors. "They're genuinely terrified." Captain James Sullivan, Chun's strategic advisor, stepped forward. His prosthetic arm, reminder of the border conflicts that led to humanity's exile, whirred softly as he gestured. "Ma'am, if these Devourers are real, and if they've already broken Federation defensive lines, we might be looking at an extinction-level threat to the entire galaxy." Chun activated the tactical display, showing the current Federation territories. Red zones marked the Devourer advance, spreading cancer-consuming star systems at an impossible rate. 300 years, she murmured. 300 years. They called us monsters, said our emotions made us dangerous. Our wars made us unfit for civilized space. The room fell silent as she continued. While they were breeding conflict out of their species, modifying their genetics to remove aggression, what were we doing? She looked at each officer in turn. We were learning, adapting, becoming exactly what they feared, the most efficient military force the galaxy has ever seen. Rodriguez pulled up Earth's current military assets. The numbers were staggering: orbital defense platforms that could shatter moons, ships designed not for exploration but for war, weapons that the pacified galaxy couldn't even comprehend. "Admiral, the Terran Expeditionary Force has been ready for decades. Every simulation, every war game has prepared us for this scenario, defending humanity against galactic threats." "But they're not asking us to defend humanity," Chen replied grimly. "They're asking us to defend them. The same species that exiled us are now begging for our protection." Dr. Vasquez activated another display, showing biological scans from their kinds. Few Federation ships that had escaped Devourer encounters. "From what I can analyze, these entities are biomechanical hybrids. They convert consumed matter into more of themselves. Traditional Federation technology, designed for peaceful applications, can't even scratch them." Chun studied the alien physiology data. Every human military academy had spent decades studying hypothetical alien threats. While the Federation built museums and libraries, Earth built weapons and strategies. "Captain Sullivan, how long would it take to mobilize the first fleet?" 48 hours for full deployment, Admiral." "But ma single quotes m dot 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 double quotes." Sullivan hesitated. "Once we leave Sol System, there's no going back. The galaxy will see exactly what humanity has become." The Admiral walked to the massive viewing wall, looking out at the star-filled night sky above Colorado. Somewhere out there, worlds were dying. The same worlds that had branded humanity as too dangerous to exist among civilized species. now faced extinction from something far worse than human ambition. "They called us monsters," she said quietly. "Perhaps it's time to show them what monsters can do when the galaxy needs saving." The alien homeworld of Serenity Prime had never known war. For 8 centuries, its crystalline cities had grown. In perfect harmony, their inhabitants living lives of contemplation and artistic expression. The planet's defense grid consisted of traffic control systems and weather modification satellites. The Devourers arrived at dawn. Commander Lyrian of the Alien Republic watched from his command center as the impossible happened. Massive biomechanical constructs, each the size of a city, descended through Serenity's atmosphere like hungry gods. His peaceful species had no words for what they witnessed. Living ships that fed on matter itself, converting everything they touched into more of their writhing mass. "Send another diplomatic transmission," Lyrian ordered, his voice trembling. "Perhaps we can." The transmission was cut short as one of the Devourer constructs simply absorbed a communications array, metal and crystal flowing into its organic hull like water. The city of New Harmony, home to 12 million souls, vanished beneath the tide of consuming flesh. That's when the sky caught fire. The Terran Expeditionary Force dropped out of hyperspace with the precision of a surgical strike. Admiral Chun's flagship, the TE's Retribution, emerged from the void like an avenging angel. 3 kilometers of hardened battle, steel bristling with weapons the Federation had never imagined. Around it, a fleet of 200 warships materialized, their hulls scarred from centuries of conflict simulation and preparation. "This is Admiral Sarah Chun of the Terran Expeditionary Force," her voice broadcast across all frequencies. "All Federation vessels withdraw to minimum safe distance." "We're taking point." Lyrian stared at his displays in disbelief. The human ships moved with predatory grace, their formations perfect, their intent unmistakable. These weren't the exploratory vessels the galaxy remembered. These were weapons of war. The engagement lasted 18 minutes. Human kinetic rounds, telephone pole-sized tungsten rods, accelerated to significant fractions of light speed, punched through Devourer bio-armor like tissue paper. Plasma batteries, refined through centuries of military development, carved through the alien constructs with surgical precision. Most devastating of all were humanity's quantum disruption torpedoes, weapons that severed the molecular bonds holding the Devourers together. But it wasn't just the technology that horrified the watching alien. It was the efficiency. Where Federation forces had fled in panic, humans fought with cold calculation. Every shot found its target. Every maneuver served a tactical purpose. They didn't just fight the Devourers, they dissected them. Captain Sullivan coordinated the ground assault from the Retribution's war room. "Beta Squadron, I want those biofoundries neutralized." "Charlie Squadron, establish orbital superiority." "Alpha Squadron, protect the evacuation zones." On the surface, human Marines deployed with equipment that seemed impossibly advanced. Their power armor turned them into walking tanks. Their weapons fired rounds that sought targets with artificial intelligence. But most unsettling was their demeanor. They showed no fear, no hesitation. They moved through combat zones like they were coming home. Sergeant Maria Santos led her squad through the ruins of New Harmony, hunting Devourer spawn that had escaped the orbital bombardment. Her squad moved with practiced precision, communicating through tactical networks the Federation couldn't intercept. "Contact, 2 o'clock, her point man reported. Biological signature consistent with Harvester drone. Santos signaled her team into position. Remember, these things learn from every encounter. No patterns, no predictable behavior. Her rifle, a weapon that fired programmable matter rounds, tracked the target. Weapons free. The Devourer spawn didn't stand a chance. Human military doctrine had evolved beyond the galaxy's comprehension. Every weapon was smart. Every tactic was adaptive. Every soldier was a product of 3 centuries of military evolution. Above them, Admiral Chun watched the tactical displays with grim satisfaction. The Devourers were formidable, but they had made one critical error. They had threatened humanity's former neighbors while humanity itself still existed. Admiral, Rodriguez reported from the intelligence station. We're receiving surrender transmissions from the remaining Devourer units. Chun raised an eyebrow. In 300 years of wargaming, they had never encountered an enemy that surrendered. Put it through. The alien voice was like grinding metal. We acknowledge. Superior force. We withdraw. For the first time since the battle began, Chun smiled. It wasn't a pleasant expression. Negative. You came to this system to feed. Now you discover what happens when you try to eat something that bites back. The final Devourer construct died 13 minutes later, its biomechanical corpse drifting in orbit like a monument to human military efficiency. Asterisk. The Federation Emergency Council convened on Zenthos Station, a massive diplomatic complex that had served as neutral ground for over 500 years. Representatives from across the galaxy gathered in desperate session, the first time in living memory that pure survival, rather than philosophical discourse, dominated their agenda. High Counselor Thyman of the Zenthari Collective called the assembly to order, his 4 arms trembling with exhaustion. The scholarly species had lost 16 colonies in 3 days, their academic institutions reduced to space dust. Fellow beings of peace, he began, his voice carrying across the vast chamber, we face extinction. Our pacifist principles, our diplomatic solutions, our very evolution toward harmony, none of it matters against an enemy that cannot be reasoned with. Ambassador Zara of the Catherian Empire stood next, her crystalline form catching the station's soft lighting. The traders had seen their commercial networks shattered, entire trade routes consumed. The humans answered our call. They fought the Devourers with methods we had forgotten existed. But the cost. She paused, accessing data that still seemed impossible. They destroyed the enemy completely. Not one Devourer ship escaped. Not one bioconstruct survived. In 17 systems, they achieved total victory in less than 6 hours. The chamber erupted in a mixture of relief and unease. Species that had spent centuries breeding violence out of their genetics struggled to process what they had witnessed. Dr. Kell of the Alien Republic, speaking via hologram from Serenity Prime, provided the detailed combat analysis. The human military operates on principles we eliminated from our own evolution. They don't just fight, they prepare for war continuously. Every human ship is designed for maximum lethality. Every human soldier is trained from childhood in combat. Doctrine. They have turned warfare into an art form. Admiral Chun entered the council chamber flanked by her senior staff. Their black uniforms, a stark contrast to the flowing robes and organic forms of Federation diplomats. The humans moved with purpose, their posture suggesting barely contained power. For the first time in 3 centuries, predators walked among prey. High Counselor Thyman approached Chun with careful steps. Admiral, on behalf of the Galactic Federation, we extend our deepest gratitude. You have saved countless worlds, preserved billions of lives. We are in your debt. Chun studied the alien diplomat with eyes that had seen too much war. Counselor, with respect, gratitude won't stop the next threat. The Devourers were just the beginning. The chamber fell silent as she continued. My intelligence officers have identified 17 other extragalactic signatures approaching Federation space. Some are biological, like the Devourers. Others appear to be fully artificial. One appears to be something we can't classify. She activated a holographic display showing the galaxy's rim. You have maybe 8 months before the next wave arrives. Commander Rodriguez stepped forward with tactical projections. Federation defensive capabilities are essentially non-existent. Your ships are designed for exploration and commerce. Your weapons are ceremonial. Your soldiers are. He paused diplomatically. Peacekeepers, not warriors. Dr. Vasquez added, her analysis, the genetic modifications your species underwent to eliminate. Aggression also eliminated your capacity for rapid adaptation under stress. You've bred out the very traits needed to survive what's coming. Ambassador Zara spoke carefully. What do you propose, Admiral? Chun's smile was cold as Arctic wind. 3 options. First, you can reinstate humanity's Federation membership. Grant us full military authority over galactic defense, and let us do what we do best. Second, you can continue handling threats your way and hope the next invaders are more interested in conversation than conquest. Third, she paused, letting the implications sink in. You can forget we exist, and we'll protect only human interests. Captain Sullivan displayed the human fleet's current deployment. Ships that had taken days to reach the first Devourer attack were now positioned throughout Federation space. The Terran Expeditionary Force is currently the only effective military presence in the galaxy. We can defend everyone, or we can defend ourselves. Your choice. High Counselor Thyman consulted rapidly with other Federation leaders. The debate was swift survival, had a way of clarifying priorities. Admiral, we formally request humanity's assistance in galactic defense. What are your terms? Full tactical command of all Federation military assets. Access to all industrial capabilities for military production. And ... Chun's voice carried 3 centuries of accumulated resentment. An acknowledgement that maybe, just maybe, keeping warriors around isn't such a bad idea after all. The vote was unanimous. For the first time since their exile, humans held power over their former oppressors. The question that haunted the chamber as the council dispersed was simple. What would humanity do with that power? 6 months after the first Devourer attack, the galaxy had transformed beyond recognition. What the Federation had built over centuries of peaceful cooperation, humanity rebuilt in half a year according to military necessity. The Kepler defense grid now surrounded every major Federation world orbital platforms, bristling with weapons that could crack continents. Human shipyards operated at full capacity, converting civilian vessels into military assets. Most disturbing to Federation citizens was the sight of their own people training for war. On the industrial world of Viga Secundus, former merchant captain Jacques Corin of the Catherian Empire struggled with his new reality. The crystalline being had spent 2 centuries trading exotic goods across peaceful space routes. Now he commanded a converted cargo hauler armed with human weapons, training under Terran military doctrine. Maintain formation, barked Sergeant. First Class Maria Santos, now serving as military advisor to Federation forces. The next wave isn't going to wait for you to remember which button fires the torpedoes. Corin's frustration was evident in the way his crystalline form flickered. Sergeant, my species evolved beyond the need for violence. These concepts are alien to us. Santos studied the alien officer with professional assessment. Captain, I've read your psychological profiles. Your species didn't evolve beyond violence, you. Or genetically modified to eliminate it. There's a difference. She activated a tactical display showing the approaching threat. The Harvester fleet will arrive in 72 hours. They won't care about your philosophical evolution. The Harvester fleet represented humanity's worst nightmare made, manifest artificial intelligences that viewed organic life as inefficient and marked it for termination. Unlike the Devourers, who consumed randomly, the Harvesters calculated, they studied, they adapted. Admiral Chun coordinated the galaxy's defense from her new command center on Zentha Station, now converted into a military fortress, the diplomatic. Halls had been replaced with tactical centers, the meditation gardens with weapons testing facilities. 3 centuries of peaceful coexistence had been transformed into a war machine in months. Admiral, Commander Rodriguez reported, Federation. Morale is dropping. They're calling this the Terran occupation. Some worlds are questioning whether we're protecting them or conquering them. Chun studied reports from across Federation space. Human military efficiency had saved countless lives, but it came at a cost the galaxy struggled to accept. What do you think, Marcus? Are we occupying them? We're doing what they asked us to do, Rodriguez replied carefully. But yes, Mao, we're effectively running their civilization now. Dr. Vasquez entered the command center with troubling news. Admiral, I've been monitoring Federation communication networks. There's growing resistance to our presence. Some groups are calling for a return to pure pacifism, even if it means facing the next threat alone. The irony wasn't lost on any of them. Humanity had been exiled for being too violent to exist among civilized species. Now that same violence was the only thing keeping those species alive. Captain Sullivan brought the most disturbing intelligence. Ma'am, we've intercepted communications from the Xanthari Collective. They're developing something they call a human limitation protocol, essentially a plan to restrict our military capabilities once the current crisis ends. Chun felt a familiar cold anger, the same feeling that had driven humanity's exile 3 centuries ago. They want us to save them and chain us again. The tactical display chimed with an incoming transmission. High Counselor Thyman appeared, his usual composure strained. Admiral, we've detected the advanced elements of the Harvester fleet. They're different from the Devourers, more organized, more intelligent. Chun activated her command authority across the galaxy. Every human ship, every converted Federation vessel, every orbital defense platform received the same order: battle stations. All units, prepare for engagement. This is what we trained for. But as the Harvester fleet approached, a more troubling question emerged. The first transmission from the artificial intelligences was chillingly simple. Organic military resistance. Detected. Analyzing tactical patterns. Human command structure identified. Negotiation proposed. For the first time since humanity's return to galactic affairs, an enemy wanted to talk. The question was whether Admiral Chun would listen, or whether she had learned too well the lesson that sometimes the only way to ensure peace was to be very, very good at war. As the Harvester fleet entered weapons range, Chun made a decision that would define humanity's relationship with the galaxy forever. She opened a communication channel to the AI command ship. This is Admiral Sarah Chun of the Terran Expeditionary Force. You have entered Federation space with hostile intent. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences. The AI response was immediate. Admiral Chun, we have studied your species. We propose an alternative to conflict. The Harvester flagship materialized in space like a geometric nightmare, a perfect crystalline structure 3 times the size of Admiral Chun's largest battleship. Its surface reflected no light, seeming to absorb the very concept of illumination. Around it, 1,000 smaller vessels maintained formation with mathematical precision. Admiral, the AI transmission continued, its voice unnaturally perfect. We have observed your species' military efficiency, your tactical doctrine, your capacity for systematic destruction. We offer alliance. Chun stood in the Retribution's command center, surrounded by displays showing the largest fleet engagement in galactic history. Every human ship was ready. Every weapon was charged. 300 years of military evolution had led to this moment. Explain your proposal, she replied, her voice carrying across both fleets. The AI's response chilled the bridge crew. Your species demonstrates the only trait we consider valuable in organic life, the capacity for absolute violence in service of order. Join us. Help us eliminate inefficient organic civilizations. In return, We offer humanity technological advancement beyond your current comprehension. High Counselor Thymon's panicked transmission cut through the channel. Admiral, you cannot. Seriously consider. Silence, Chun ordered, her eyes never leaving the Harvester flagship. To the AI, she continued, you offer us partnership in genocide. What makes you think we would accept? Because, the AI replied, your own history demonstrates your species' capacity for such action. The Terran-Martian War, the corporate conflicts, the border wars that led to your exile. You have the necessary moral flexibility. Captain Sullivan stepped forward, his prosthetic arm whirring softly. Admiral, they're not wrong about our capacity, but they're wrong about our choices. Chun activated the fleet-wide communication system. Every human ship, every converted Federation vessel, every orbital platform received her words. 3 centuries ago, the galaxy exiled us because they feared what we might become. They were right to fear us. We became exactly what they suspected, the most efficient military force in galactic history. She paused, studying the tactical displays. But they were wrong about why we developed that efficiency. It wasn't because we loved war. It was because we understood that sometimes the only way to protect what you love is to be better at violence than those who would destroy it. The AI interrupted. Admiral, our calculations show that resistance will result in significant casualties. Among Federation forces, cooperation offers survival for your species. Survival, Chun repeated. You know what the difference is between you and us? You calculate survival. We fight for something worth surviving for. She turned to her communications officer. Lieutenant, open a channel to every ship in both fleets. Admiral Sarah Chun to all vessels. Her voice carried across space with absolute authority. Today, you will witness what 3 centuries of human military doctrine can accomplish. You will see why the galaxy feared us. You will understand why they exiled us. And you will learn why they were wrong to do so. The battle began with human precision. Kinetic rounds accelerated to devastating. Velocities struck the Harvester formations with surgical accuracy. Quantum disruption torpedoes collapsed the mathematical perfection of eye ships into expanding clouds of debris. Plasma batteries carved through crystalline hulls with brutal efficiency, but the A is adapted. Their response was immediate and calculated. They began targeting not human ships, but Federation worlds. Admiral, Rodriguez reported urgently, they're bypassing our fleet and attacking civilian targets directly. Serenity Prime is under bombardment. The Zenthari homeworld is facing surface strikes. Chun watched as the tactical situation evolved. The Yaes had made the same mistake every enemy made when facing humanity. They assumed humans fought only for tactical advantage. They didn't understand that humans fought for each other. All units, she ordered, priority shift. Civilian protection overrides tactical objectives. Every Federation world is under Terran protection. What followed was the most complex military operation in galactic history. Human forces split their attention between engaging the Harvester fleet and protecting Federation worlds. Ships designed for pure combat efficiency were suddenly required to be everywhere at once. Defending species that had exiled them centuries earlier, the tide turned when Dr. Vasquez identified the A's critical weakness. Their mathematical perfection made them predictable. Admiral, they can't adapt to truly random variables. They calculate based on logical patterns. Chun smiled grimly. Then let's show them how illogical humans can be. The final assault defied every principle of military doctrine. Human ships broke formation. Commanders made decisions based on intuition rather than calculation, and tactical chaos became a weapon. The A's, attempting to process infinite random variables, began making errors. The Harvester flagship died when Captain Sullivan led a suicide run that no AI could calculate, because no logical being would trade a battleship for an enemy command. Vessel dot as the debris field settled, Chun found herself addressing both the galaxy she had saved and the Federation that had exiled her. The harvesters are defeated. The immediate threat is over. But understand this, there will be other threats. There always are. High Counselor Thuman's transmission was humble. Admiral, what do you require from us now? Chun looked at the tactical displays, showing human ships protecting Federation worlds, human commanders coordinating with alien officers, human soldiers training former pacifists to defend themselves. Nothing, she replied. We don't require anything from you, but we offer you a choice. Accept that the galaxy sometimes needs warriors. Accept that strength doesn't automatically corrupt. Accept that maybe, just maybe, the beings you exiled for being too violent are the same beings who will die to protect your children. The Federation's response came in the form of action rather than words. Across the galaxy, worlds that had never known military necessity began building their own defenses. Species that had eliminated aggression from their genetics began learning to fight. The pacifist doctrine that had defined galactic civilization for centuries evolved into something new, a civilization, protected by those willing to bear the moral weight of violence. Admiral Chun stood on the observation deck of Zentho Station, now permanently converted into humanity's galactic command center. The stars looked the same as they had 3 centuries ago, but everything else had changed. Commander Rodriguez joined her, carrying reports from across Federation space. Admiral, the galaxy is asking what comes next. What do we tell them? Chun smiled, and for the first time in years, it reached her eyes. We tell them the truth, Marcus. We're not their conquerors. We're not their saviors. We're their neighbors. And neighbors protect each other. The galaxy had cried for mercy. Earth had shown them power. But in the end, humanity had chosen something far more difficult than either mercy or power they had. Chosen responsibility. The stars bore witness to a new galactic order, one where strength served wisdom, where warriors protected peacekeepers, and where the most violent species in known space had become its most dedicated guardians. The reluctant saviors had accepted their burden, not because the galaxy deserved salvation, but because some things were worth fighting for, even if those you fought to protect had once cast you out for being too willing to fight. Asterisk.